This is Coach Lee, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the law of attraction and getting your ex back. Take a second and click the subscribe button below so that you can be notified when I have more videos like this, and that includes videos on relationships, marriage, attraction, and mindfulness. The law of attraction is more complex than a lot of the people on that bandwagon would like to have you believe. As it's true in other areas of life, sometimes when things look very simple, there's a lot of detail behind it. When the details are correct, then the outcome is simple or the system seems simple. For example, if you watch a great athlete, we often say they make it look so easy. Did they just wake up and make it look easy? No. It took a lot of work, took a lot of patience, stick-to-itiveness. It took a lot of details, even some technical things, and a lot of people are afraid of the technicalities, but there's a lot of technicalities in it. There's no need to be afraid of those things. There's no need to run away from those things. There is a need, however, if you want to be successful with it, to understand how it works so you can operate within it and have the advantages that it provides. The law of attraction is a law like gravity. It's not some religious conviction that the law of gravity exists. You know that it does. You walk outside, you trip over your dog, you fall down. There's the law of gravity. The law of attraction, just like gravity, is what is called subtle energy, in that gravity, when you're walking around, living your life, you don't feel it all the time. You don't really see it, but it's there. And when you realize it's powerful is when your face hits the pavement, or when you see a tree fall, or an avalanche. What seemed gentle and subtle, though still gentle and subtle, is very powerful. It doesn't take away from its power just because it's subtle. The sun is an example. Our Earth orbits around the sun. The sun didn't chase down the Earth and demand that it orbit around it. The sun actually is still, at least relative to our galaxy. The sun is in a fixed position and the planets revolve around the sun. So the sun is just sitting there using subtle energy, because that's how it was designed. And with that subtle energy, massive planets are pulled to it. A tornado is another example of subtle energy. When you first hear what causes a tornado, it just doesn't seem right, like that could really cause such powerful energy and such devastation, when all it is that the air above is warmer than the air below. And it pulls. They pull each other. They chase each other. It's like a dance. And just the temperature difference causes these massive winds to circle and suck things up and destroy things. That energy exists right now. In the room, in the vehicle, wherever you are where you're watching this video, the air in front of you can create a tornado. The power exists. It's right there. It's so subtle because that air is still, but the energy, the power exists within it for a tornado to happen. Concerning relationships, success, whatever it is that you're seeking, the law of attraction works within what's called free will. When you try to force something, you're actually working against the universe. You're working against the law of attraction. When you try to use coercion, in other words, you're going to make something happen. You're going to make someone do this under threat. You're going to make someone do this even if they don't want to. That's actually operating against the laws of the universe. It's the opposite of attraction. Attraction does not have to do that. Attraction doesn't have to push or force or coerce. Attraction is. Attraction is without trying to make it happen, without trying to control the other person or control the situation. Attraction simply exists. Again, the sun did not chase down the earth. The earth revolves around the sun while it sits there. Getting rich, for example, making more money. When I'm helping someone who's wanting to start a business or wanting to improve their business, if they are wanting to take away from someone who has more, they're saying, this person's rich and I want to take it away so I can be rich too. That's working against the laws of the universe. Trying to get what you want by taking it away from someone else is against the laws of the universe. If you resent someone for having more money, more friends, a happy relationship, a fitter body, you're actually operating against the law of the universe. Resentment, jealousy, greed, that is against the law of attraction. You actually give yourself a much more difficult road to achieve what you want because you are pushing against what should be. You want to be successful in business or earn more money. Do so by working hard on what you provide. That can be working well, working hard at a job to the point that your employer considers you essential. It can be providing a product or service that is wonderful to the point that it attracts, so that you don't have to try to harm your competition, take out your competition, take away from someone else who's doing well with it already. But what you provide is actually so good because you have focused on it and you've done right by your customers that you and your product and your services attract. They bring people in because they want it, because it's good. Like the example of the bee and the flower. The flower just sits there. It knows what it has is good. It's beautiful. The bee goes to the flower. The flower wants what the bee has, and the bee wants what the flower has. And yet they take nothing from each other. They only give to each other. The flower doesn't chase down the bee, and the bee doesn't chase down the flower. The bee knows where the flower is, and the bee goes to it. The flower does not run away. It doesn't have to. The principles of scarcity and abundance are vital to understanding the law of attraction. If you operate under the mindset of abundance, you will naturally do a lot of the things that create attraction, that help you to be more attractive. One of my clients recently started using the phrase, I have to do this or else, and then he stated a negative thing. That was his reality, and I get that he felt that way. But you must banish that mindset. I have to. Because there's a negative connotation. While the results may truly exist, that if you don't do this, this will happen and it's a bad thing, having the mindset of I have to is actually working against the universe. And I'll give you an example, again from the world of sports, because usually it's just so simple to understand for men and for women. The game of golf penalizes you if you hit the ball into the water. And so you'll have a green, which is an area where you want to hit the ball, and it will be surrounded by water oftentimes. The great players of golf, the two greatest to ever live, according to most people who talk about that, would be Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods. Perhaps you've heard of them. One of the famous lines that Jack Nicklaus said when asked about his success on a hole where he actually ended up winning a major championship, they asked him about the water on that hole. And he actually looked back almost surprised in the direction of the hole. And he said, I didn't see the water. Now at first you may think, okay, he's trying to sound really profound. But actually that's not true, because that's not how he works anyway. He's not a fake person. He's not someone who says something just to be dramatic or emotional. He doesn't live like he's in some cheesy movie, in other words. He said that because it was true. He had trained himself, whether he knew it or not, to work within the laws of the universe, in that he was focused on his target. He was not focused on the water, on the danger, on the loss or the risk. He was focused on his target, and if we're going to even be more specific, on his swing. So it's even smaller than focusing out there on the target. He was focusing on himself. He was focusing inward. Was he aware of the risk? Yes. He knew it was a possibility, but that did not scare him. It didn't take away from what he was trying to do or what he wanted to do. He accepted the risk. That's operating within the principle of abundance, in that if he did hit it in the water, it's not the worst thing that could happen. He will figure it out when he gets there. He'll cross that bridge when he comes to it. Those things are operating within the law of attraction, within the principle of abundance, and within trust. Trust yourself that you'll figure it out, that you'll make the right decision when you get there, after the next step. Larry Bird and Michael Jordan, two of the greatest, arguably, basketball players to ever live, understood there was risk. You take a shot, you could miss it. As a matter of fact, both of them missed more shots than they made. Babe Ruth, who held the home run record for a long time, struck out more times than he didn't strike out. He accepted that. He, whether he knew it or not, accepted, embraced, and utilized the principle of abundance. He knew he'd get another at bat. Might not be this game. As a matter of fact, they might have lost that game. There's another game. There was time to practice. There was time to work out and get stronger. There was a future, regardless. I once met a man who had lived in a very poor country where he had to go out almost every day and hunt for food for his family. And I wanted to know, what did you learn from that? Because now he was in the United States of America and he had become a successful businessman. So things had changed. And I said, did living that way help you to be successful with this business where he was providing a wonderful service that people needed and wanted, and so they were paying him to get it because it was attractive. They wanted what he was providing, and it was a great thing that he was providing. And I said, did living that way help you with this? And he said, it absolutely did. And I said, well, tell me, when you went out to hunt, what is one thing you take away that you use every day? And he said that when they went out into a field where there were birds seated in the field, that when he saw one bird, that if he was with a new hunter, the temptation was to start running at that one bird, to start focusing entirely on that one bird, and to act as though that was the only bird that existed. And sometimes they would start moving quickly or even running toward the bird. And he said, I would have to stop them. But sometimes they would just do it anyway. And what would happen is all the birds they didn't see took off and flew away, including the one that he was focused on. So by thinking that that was the only bird, this is their only chance, and he was going to run desperately toward this bird, he scared away all the other birds, including the bird that could have been a meal for his family. I'm guessing you can see maybe how this would apply to your ex and getting your ex back. I hadn't forgotten about that part, but I had to talk about a few other things first. Now, one example could be that you focus exclusively on what you've lost, on who you've lost, and that you forget about other people in the world. And I'm not necessarily talking about romantic relationships. I'm a realist. I understand you want your ex back. That's okay. I want to help you get your ex back. I'm not going to try to make you feel like you're a lesser person because you would like to be back together with this person. You can want that and operate completely within the laws of the universe, the law of attraction. It's okay to want something. How you respond to that, both internally and externally, is what really matters. Because there are other relationships in life, friends, family, and people who feel loved. They embrace that love. They experience that love. They drink of that love. They are more attractive than they would be otherwise. To be loved makes you more attractive. And there are people who love you. You may not even know that there are, but there are people who love you. And so, as I talk about in another video I have called My Best Advice to Get an Ex Back, do not forget about your friends and family in this time while you are somewhat mourning the loss of your ex, wanting to get them back, trying to figure out how to do that. Don't just focus exclusively on that one relationship, because it will actually hurt you in your efforts to get back together with your ex. Be around the people who love you. That's a powerful energy, and it will make you more attractive. That may sound overly spiritual or too vague, but trust me, when you're around people who love you, care about you, and who you enjoy being around, you become a more attractive person, and you increase the power of the frequency that exists within you that helps you to be attractive. When you push, beg, plead, or try to force your ex to get back together with you, to be around you, to talk to you, you're operating against the law of attraction. Just like someone who wants to get rich by taking it away from someone else who's rich. That's not a good plan long term. It doesn't work. What works is making an outstanding product yourself, being an outstanding employee yourself, living in the moment and doing your best. That's what's most attractive. The same is true in relationships. Instead of trying to force someone to be with you, put that energy into making yourself more attractive, physically, emotionally, and intellectually. I talk about how to do that in other videos, including my emergency breakup kit, which you can look into with the link below that I'll include in the description. It's a powerful guide to get your ex back, and it's the culmination of my 20 years in the relationship coaching service. When you use the no contact rule, for example, you are operating within the law of attraction. You are allowing the other person to have what they want. You're not trying to put a wall in front of them and stop them. You are being like the flower. The bee may fly away And though you think you might be able to chase the bee down, you actually can't. It's impossible. It may feel like you are, but you're actually not achieving anything. You're not achieving what you think you are anyway. You're pushing the bee further away. Staying there, being a beautiful flower, being attractive is what will bring the bee back. And of course, it's difficult. When you're hurting, you're afraid that you can't get your ex back, that it won't happen. You're actually thinking incorrectly in terms of operating under the laws of the universe. But I understand that that's an easy trap to fall into. Trust is a powerful frequency within the laws of the universe, the law of attraction, and the principle of abundance. So trust me. Trust that after 20 years, I've observed thousands of cases of no contact bringing an ex back. I've also observed cases of where exes don't come back, but the person who used no contact becomes a stronger person and they become more attractive and they end up getting with someone who they are more compatible with and happier with. But a majority of people do get their ex back. And trust is something that will make you attractive. Trust keeps you from becoming desperate because you trust that what you're doing gives you the best chance. So when you do have that anxiety, and I have a video on managing anxiety after a breakup when you want your ex back, I'll link to that in the description below. But when you feel that anxiety, if you can lean back into trust, if you can embrace trust, you are actually operating within the laws of the universe, the laws that God set up in the universe. It's no different than gravity, no different than E = mc squared, no different than photosynthesis. Examples of it exist all around us. Embrace the comfort and the peace of knowing you're doing the best thing to give you the best chance of getting your ex back, and that you will take it one day at a time. You're not going to try to force things. You're not going to try to look too far ahead into the future. You're going to stay in the moment. You're going to stay within yourself. You're going to be attractive and not forceful, which is far more powerful. If this video has been helpful to you, please click the subscribe button below so that you can be notified when I have more videos like this. And certainly, click the like button below if you appreciate my work. You can leave a tip for me in my tip jar, and you can leave an amount that you think is worth what you got from this video. I'll link to my tip jar in the description below. This has been Coach Lee, and as always, thank you for watching.